Welcome to Last Word. I'm David Jenkins. He's Chris Popst, and we're in the middle of Snowmageddon, Popst.
You know, I came in. I got my boots, and I'm currently doing the show shoeless.
At least he's wearing pants. You know, that's a plus.
Maybe.
Trust me, I'm not doing the show with you if you're not wearing pants.
You'll never know.
They will know, because if I'm not here, that means you're not wearing pants. I'm not doing a show with someone pants.
He won't know.
Yeah, I will know. Definitely know.
Well, pants or no pants, we might not even have a district tournament this Saturday that we're looking forward to. Dang snow, dang ice, dang everything here is just ruining. It's already canceled the Sykes and New Madrid SEMO conference game. I'm not sure. We're not sure what's going to happen there. I don't know if there's a precedent for this or not.
I can't remember a time when a team that was after first place didn't get a game in. Now, I know there's been some times that some of the teams didn't get a game in, but it was because
it didn't really matter in the
standings.
Right,
it didn't matter in the standings, so it really wasn't a big deal. But I don't know how they do that, because you've got Jackson and Notre Dame, both who probably will play next week and win and be 6-2 in conference. You'll have New Madrid at 5-2. You know, and how's that?
Will not get their last conference game in. I mean, you would think I don't know. You can't really penalize a team for not being able to play a game.
You know, can't they play?
But you can't really take away a win. What other teams can do?
Couldn't they play it like after both teams? You know,
I would think so. I mean, you would think that that'd be something that could happen. You know,
something before the last date before the last state championship game. I know there's a chance that both teams could be in the state championships at some point, but you would think that the chances are highly unlikely that both teams would make it all that way, and you'd have a chance to play it somewhere in there.
I know Sykes has a little bit more wiggle room just because they have an extra week to go, but New Madrid, I know they're poised for a deep playoff run. I know they don't really want to. They put in jeopardy of playing another game because you got things that can happen and stuff like that. I understand that, but you would think that if they do get knocked out early and if Sykeson's knocked out early, they could maybe come up with something that
even if New Madrid makes it all the way to the state championship game, you would think that they have that next week. When they play the Class 4 and 5.
That's true. They could maybe do something like that.
Maybe unless Sykeson's playing in that one, maybe they could schedule it for that week. Just kind of get together and say, look, if you're not playing, then we're going to try to play it on this day. I mean, it seems like I don't see what the problem would be.
I think we got a plan.
I know that baseball's done that before. It's been years ago, but I remember for the SEMO conference they played. I think it was Sykes and Chaffee played after the districts. They played a game, to decide the SEMO Conference Championship. So I think there's some precedent to it, but I don't know if that's something that's doable or even that the two schools are cared to do.
It sounds good, so it probably won't happen. But that's just how things work. So
New Madrid's probably happy. They've already got the conference tournament title. They're like, well, if we don't get the regular season, that's they're always going to be an asterisk.
That's right. We can always say, hey, we didn't get to play Sykes.
Well, I mean, hey, that's a tough game for them. And Jackson has Kennett and Notre Dame has Dexter. You would think that Jackson and Notre Dame would win both those games. It's kind of a lot easier than what New Madrid has. So you're looking at it as New Madrid has a tougher game. They don't get to play that game. You can't really give them a share of the title if they're a win short. Yeah. I mean, you really can't.
You can't, and you can't. Like I said, you can't give them. It's just you can't penalize them because they can't play the game. It's circumstances.
It's not their fault that it snowed and iced, and it's apparently going to continue until March.
We shoot the show on Wednesday. There's forecasts of ice and stuff on Friday. We're not really sure what the weekend holds. Not really sure what the districts hold for Saturday for the Class 3, 2, and 1. It's a mess right now. It really is, and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of good games this week and a lot of. Looking forward to starting districts. So.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to the Sykes and New Madrid game, so I really like them to play it at some point. But I know we both got the text message earlier today saying that it's not going to happen. They're not going. There's no makeup date going to be planned. Yeah. So hopefully they get together and rethink it, and maybe figure something out.
So Jinx, we're going to assume that districts is going to go as scheduled. Start on Saturday, no hiccups, no nothing like that. We're going to make
that's a bold assumption.
Hey,
at this point. But we're going to do it just for the sake of
I live my life on assumptions. That's how I roll. Nothing's certain with me. So this is how we're going to roll. We're going to start with the Class 3 round this time. We got Saturday. We got New Madrid hosting that district, Class 3 District 1. New Madrid, I believe, is the I'm not going to say overwhelming favorite. I'm just going to say they're the favorite. I think they're poised to win their first district championship since Charleston's moved out of their district now. Yeah. I didn't look it up before, but New Madrid, they haven't won a district, I don't believe, since, Jinx, you might know.
It's got to be 2001. I think 2001.
That's,
I can't remember.
That's a pretty big drought that they're going to threaten to stop here. You know, New Madrid, I think one of their toughest opponents, I think, in that district might be, I think, Carruthersville's kind of come up as maybe a contender. You know, they've shown that they can maybe stop a few people, and they can certainly score. All those teams can score. We've talked about it before. I think Carruthersville obviously is one, and possibly Zenith maybe kind of creeping. I don't know. Well, if Victor Dukes plays.
Victor Dukes is out with an ankle injury. You know, New Madrid beat Carruthersville by 32 just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I see nobody on New Madrid side of the bracket. They cruise to the finals.
Yeah, I didn't.
And you look at the other side of the bracket, you got Hayti and Malden, who's kind of they split with each other. Hayti's
a team that's been playing well.
I start to say they've won 5 straight, and they're my pick to make the finals to play New Madrid, and I think New Madrid beats them double figures. I think Hayti hangs with them for a while, but New Madrid is I think they're just too strong for every team in this district. But I think Hayti is probably the second. You know, I think Hayti makes that final. You know, I think they're better than Malden. Malden's lost 3 straight. You know, Hayti's kind of on a roll and playing really well after that Scott Central loss. They've really turned it on, and they beat a good Bernie team the other day in overtime. They've shown they can win the close games. I think Hayti makes it, but I don't think they have enough to beat New Madrid.
We both saw that Hayti team for the first and only time against Scott Central, and they like we've talked about before. They have talent. They just got to put it together. Sounds like they're starting to get rolling and get ready for districts, which is exactly what teams want to do right now. Start playing their best ball. But I think, like I said, I just think New Madrid's going to be too tough. They have been all year, 3 losses. They recently beat Jackson. That was a huge win for them, I thought.
This is their year, and I think New Madrid. I think they smell it. I think this is what they've been working for. I think they're going to come out and have their A game in all these games. I think they win this district without, and you know they roll into that sectional game against Charleston.
And there we jump into District 2. The Charleston. That's we've talked about an overwhelming favorite in that one. I think so. The Charleston's on their way to their 5th straight, 6th, something like that.
I don't know.
5th straight, 6th straight, something like that. District title.
I'm not going to jump ahead and say they're the overwhelming favorite. You know, they played Woodland early in the year. They beat them by 9.
Yeah.
You know, I think actually this may be a closer final than the New Madrid has, but Charleston still wins it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Charleston, you know, their season, they're Charleston.
Yeah.
You know, they lead by 10 points when the ball's tipped. They play well in district time. They know how to win districts. You know, I think Woodland is a pretty good team. Arcadia Valley's got a pretty good record themselves. But, you know, I'm kind of going to put Arcadia Valley on upset alert there in that first round game playing East Prairie.
Yeah.
East Prairie's a tough first round game.
It is.
But
they're a team capable of sneaking up and because they can rotate a lot. They have a lot of guys for one, and they have a few. Brandon Evans, I believe, is their best player, and you know they have just a lot of interchangeable parts and. Haven't really put it together a lot this year, but when they do, they can sneak up.
Arcadia Valley doesn't play teams down here very often. It's a different style, and that style is kind of tough for those schools up north. We've seen it over and over again. I'm going to put Arcadia Valley on upset alert, but I think Woodland plays Charleston in the finals. I think Woodland gives them a game for a while, but I think Charleston just has too much. Woodland's a pretty good team. They won 4 or 5 straight, and they're playing well. They've got size. They've got shooters. You know, it's just and they played them close, so they kind of have that in their mindset where we can play with these guys, but I think Charleston's too much.
Obviously, Delfico Bogan is by far going to be the best player on the court, but when Charleston plays well, it's when those other guys play well, and that's the same for a lot of teams. But the Sharp boys, they've kind of came to be known, they're brothers, by the way. When they play well, Charleston plays well, and you got Tanarius Ewing, who's becoming a very viable second scoring option, and Tyler Craig may be available. I haven't heard officially, but there've been talks about him might being ready for a districts time, or maybe even that New Madrid game. That would help them tremendously to have somebody inside to have a presence.
And McCauley, I know he was injured.
He is injured. I have not heard anything. From the last I heard, it wasn't good for him to make a return. We'll see. I'm sure if he's close, if they make it to that New Madrid game, I would think that he would probably try to give it a go. Yeah. They would try to get him in there, but obviously you want to think safety first with that. But with him being so young, but it's going to be New Madrid Charleston again, intersectional. That's going to be fun. We'll talk about that when the time comes. But we'll skip down to Class 2, District 1, Jenks, Scott County Central, first year since 1980 in Class 2. last time they won a state championship in 1980 in Class 2, if I remember right, when I was -6 years old. But we have Scott Central, we got Bernie, we got Bloomfield, who...
Right. Everybody else is to me, everybody else is a non-factor. Sorry, South Bend, Campbell, Cooter, Holcomb.
I've had a couple teams have had a tough years.
But, I think, Bernie, Bloomfield are the 2-3 seed. I think that's going to be an outstanding semifinal game. They played each other twice so far this year. Bernie rolled the first time. Yeah. They played them a couple weeks ago in that Stoddard County tournament. Bernie beat them by 4 at Bloomfield. Mm-hmm. It's going to be another dogfight to get. And Bernie, I got Bernie on upset alert in that game. I think Bernie squeezes it out, but it's going to be close.
Bernie tends to squeeze those games out. They
right.
do.
Bernie knows how to win those
other
close
than Hayti in the overtime.
Bernie's played plenty of close games. They know how to win those close games. And Bloomfield's played a lot of close games too. And Bloomfield plays very well at home. But I think Bernie squeaks it out, and we get the Scott Central Bernie game that we've been looking forward to. And
that's going to be fun.
I think Scott Central's too much. I really do. I think Scott Central's too much. I think they win it.
They have to stay out of foul trouble. They have to stay out of foul trouble.
Bernie's kind of the same way. Bernie's not real deep either, so Bernie's got to stay out of foul trouble too. If you get a physical game, you could go into those benches, and who knows what happens in that situation. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and I wouldn't be shocked to see Bernie win it, but I just think Scott Central has just a little too much.
Scott Central's got one guy that can come off the bench.
Scott Central hasn't lost in 2015.
They haven't.
They've won 10 straight.
Their schedule hasn't been great as far as that goes.
Yeah, they've scheduled tough teams that you got. They're supposed to play New Madrid.
Thursday
night.
They are. That probably's not going to happen. That would have been a great game for them going into the district, I think. But I'm with you. Scott Central's too much. I think it's going to be. I don't think Scott Central rolls. They're not that team anymore. I think they're a grinded out team. If we want to
compare scores, they hammered Hayti, and then Hayti just beat Bernie in overtime a couple weeks later.
That's true.
But you can't do that.
You can't do that. Not now, and not with these two teams. Scott Central's not really typically. They haven't really shown that they're that team anymore. They don't blow teams out. They grind it out, which in a way I think it might be better. I mean, obviously, if you're a supremely talented team, you're going to roll. But when you have a team that's not as talented and can grind out games, they know how to win close games, that's only going to help you when it comes in districts and postseason.
If you look at Class 2 and the teams who keep getting through on Class 2, I think Advance last year, Bernie's the year before, they're all teams that grind it out. Yeah. And that's just kind of Class 2 basketball.
Orion was that team when they made their run to the Final Four. Yeah.
That's just the way the Class 2 teams are. Scott Central fits that bill, and I think Scott Central has a great chance to win it all.
I think so too.
I really do.
I think so too.
And just the way they're built and the way they play, I think they've got a great chance to win it all.
I've said it all year. They'll get to the Final Four, but once they get up there, when we see there's some really tough Class 2 teams up there. You wouldn't think that, but because just
a few years ago, Class 2 was weak.
Yeah.
And then now you look at Class 2, it's pretty strong.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes. Yeah. But I really think they have a chance to win a state title.
I'm with you. We got Class 1 District 2. That's Orion, Advance. We got that. Those are the top two in my mind. I think Advance beat Orion earlier in the year. I'm going to take Orion. They're starting to get healthy. Hunter Slosher's back on the court. Earlier they weren't really playing very well. They lost lost some players from last year. Obviously, just had to get going. I think Orion beats Advance in that matchup.
I'm taking Advance. I think Advance. They beat Orion by 17 in December. Mm-hmm. They won 3 of their last 4. They're strong coming in. Bell City's a 3 seed there. They've lost 5 straight. I think they're kind of on the downward slide. I think Advance gets in there, and I think Advance beats Orion. Advance is used to playing at Bell City also. They play there in Stoddard County Conference, and it's just 5 minutes from home.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a home game for Advance. Advance wins it.
My boy Lane Belo is not on that team anymore.
Doesn't matter. They've got Dawson Mayo. They got some freshmen on there. I think they're in good shape.
My boy Lane B/Low.
I went against Advance last year.
You went against Advance 2 years ago.
And I took Orion. I said Orion. I'm not taking you again. And I'm taking Advance. I'm not going to fall on it.
I will.
You're falling under it. Falling under the spell.
I'm just
Class 1, District 1.
Go Eagles.
At Clarkton 1, Gideon 2, Delta C7 3. I think everybody else is not don't have to worry about.
Yeah. Delta C7 could possibly sneak up in there. I think they're a team that could upset and win that district. I'm going Clarkton. I went chalk with all these. I know I'm really going out of limb. Coach Eve, I think he's a little bit more playoff ready. I think than a lot of these.
Coach Eve will get them going. Yeah. Clarkton lost to Gideon just last week by 4 about a week ago. But I think Clarkton playing at home with Coach Eve. I think they win it. Gideon's going to have their hands full with Delta C7. Dusty 7 has lost 4 of the last 5, and Gideon's won 8 of their last 9. But last time they played, Dusty 7 beat them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Clarkton.
Yeah, that's me too. And I'm kind of cold.
Yeah, it's freezing in here. Got my coffee, and it's freezing. We're gonna go get warm. You guys stay warm and be safe out there on these icy streets. And we'll hopefully see you at a basketball game this weekend. If not, we'll
see you on the baseball field.
Yeah, we'll see you on the baseball field here in a couple of weeks. For the last word, see you later.